Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to this MAGC Research webinar on IFC's Edge Impact Evaluation in Indonesia that will provide a progress update on halfway through the main phase of the study. My name is Elaine Reinke. I work at the International Finance Corporation. I'm based in Vienna, Austria, and I currently lead the MAGC Research program that's being implemented under the
question has real implication for policy, investment, and the quality of life of Indonesians for generations to come. We are proud that Universitas Trisakti, through our in-country research team, stand at the center of this work. Our researchers, working alongside partners from the University of New South Wales in Australia, University College London, the International Finance Corporation, and Fairbus, have spent the past year engaging with communities across the Jakarta metropolitan area. They have been conducting surveys, collecting data, and installing start monitoring equipment in nearly 400 households. This is rigorous ground-level research, and it would not have been possible without the dedication of our team and the trust of the communities who welcome us into their homes. I would like to express my gratitude to the International Finance Corporation and the UK government's Department for Energy Security and Net Zero for their commitment and support to this program. I also thank the Green Building Council Indonesia for their continued partnership in advancing green building practices in our country. Today's session marked an important milestone. We have halfway through the main page of data collection, and we have much to share. I encourage all of you to listen closely to the updates and lessons presented by our team research. These are not just number and finding; they are insight hard-won in the field, and they carry important messages for how we design and conduct impact evaluation in the built environment. As we look ahead to the completion of data collection, I am confident that this study will produce evidence that shapes how Indonesia approaches the challenge of making our built environment more sustainable, more efficient, and more livable. On behalf of Universitas Trisakti, I wish you all a fruitful and enlightening session. I think it's enough. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Thank you very
Elaine,
much.
thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, wonderful. Then over to Tito Aribowo from the Green Building Council in Indonesia.
Thank you, Elaine. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, good morning, if everyone not in the time zone of Indonesia. This is a very good moment for us from GBC Indonesia to welcome you all, to have you all here, to have all the team here to present this magnificent progress of MAGC program that will present to you the green building impact evaluations, especially on the EDGE certified buildings in Indonesia. From GBC Indonesia, we've been in work in collaboration with IFC since 10 years ago, since 2015, even more than 10 years ago. And since then, we keep trying to delivering the best possible way to certify building around Indonesia with EDGE certification. But then what can be, what I would say, try to find the missing piece is that how is the real impact of the certification? And then what we will see here today is the proof that green building it should be more than just certification, more than just a paper, but it is really an impactful program. It's an impactful approach to build a building, to do the construction, so that the building and construction industry in Indonesia can shift toward the sustainable way. And then it is an honor for me to have these speakers, all the researchers here. I cannot be more grateful to see this kind of work, and hopefully this work can be impactful, not just for the one or two institution, but it can be impactful for especially for Indonesia. So thank you very much, and hopefully all the participants here can benefit from this webinar. Thank you. Back to you, Elaine.
Thank you very much, Tito. So over to Dan Cattel from DESNES, bringing in the global perspective on the MAGIC program. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Elaine. Good morning, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So, pleasure to meet you all. My name is Dan Cattel, and I'm from the UK Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, and I lead the MAGIC program here within our International Climate Finance Department. So at DESNES, we are incredibly proud to have MAGIC as part of the UK's International Climate Finance portfolio. It's a strong example of an innovative, high-impact programs we are seeking to support, those that can really drive systemic change, whilst also delivering tangible emissions reductions. So MAGIC works with governments, financial institutions and delivery partners to accelerate the transition to green building practices. So it focuses on addressing market barriers, mobilising investment and supporting approaches that can be scaled and replicated across rapidly growing construction markets. So we have activity happening all across the globe in all different continents within emerging and developing economies. And the program has been helping to unlock low carbon development pathways at a critical point in time for the growth of global infrastructure. What we found is that a central part of the work we've done in MAGIC is the EDGE certification platform, and it plays such a vital role in supporting both the design of buildings and the certification of them, and enabling that market shift needed to deliver the energy savings and emissions reductions needed at scale to kind of really change the market. Which is why I'm very pleased to be here today, to hear the progress update at this midpoint stage of the EDGE impact evaluation in Indonesia. For us, the research has been it's been so important in helping us to understand more about the green construction industry globally, how it works, what the barriers are, and we'd like to express our thanks to everyone here who's been involved in supporting and undertaking all that important research. So yeah, looking forward to hearing more about it. Back to you, Elaine.
Thank you, Dan. Great. So now we're moving to my colleague Anggita from the EDGE country team in Indonesia to give us the context of EDGE in Indonesia. Anggita, I have your slides up here. Over to you. I'll move you through.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you. So my name is Anggita, and I will be introducing about EDGE. EDGE is a green building solution, one of the innovation by IFC, part of the World Bank Group. And as you can see here, IFC really recognized the green building as one of the most important development impact areas within its climate strategy, given its significant and far-reaching effects. We have a four-part strategy. It includes the relationship with the banks, financial sectors, and also directly investment to the private sectors, which include developers. And we also approach the governments to help them create some codes, policy, and to bring up some incentive that bring up the growth of the green building sectors. And it is a multi-sector approach, which is essential to driving momentum, particularly in emerging markets. An EDGE certification program is a central pillar of this strategy. It is a free and easy-to-use software and a certification system that designed specifically for emerging markets, making green buildings affordable and also accessible at a scale. We have been working with this program for more than 10 years in Indonesia to transform the building markets. And here are the results. You can go to the next slide, Elaine. So this is the result that we captured by the end of the 2025. We have been working with this report together with our partners, Green Building Council Indonesia. The green buildings sectors in Indonesia, it started at 2010 during the establishment of the Green Building Council Indonesia. EDGE itself has been in Indonesia since 2015. And we have worked with our certification partners to encourage the implementation of green buildings. As you can see in the graph, green building certification in Indonesia has shown exponential growth, especially in the last 3 years. Most of these buildings are located in Jakarta and on Java Islands. At the same time, EDGE adoption is expanding beyond Java, with certified projects now appearing in cities and islands across Indonesia. Based on this data as well, we can see that certification of green buildings is present around 27 out of 38 provinces, showing that it starts to spread nationwide and not just focusing in one region only. In Indonesia, there are 4 voluntary green building certifications that are commonly used. Among these, EDGE and GreenShip are the top 2 most adopted certification systems. You can go to the next slide, Elaine. So EDGE is essentially a free and easy to use green building tools. People can access EDGE directly through the web browser through our website address, which is EDGE Buildings. There is no special software needed for this. It can work from your laptop, your cell phone, and tablets. You can also find more information in the website if you want to learn more about EDGE. And then we have a standard key areas, which are energy, water, and embodied carbon in materials. You can go to the before slide. Yes. So, as I say, it's focused on 3 key areas, which are energy, water, and embodied carbon in materials. To meet this EDGE standard, a building needs to meet minimum 20% saving based on each of those 3 components. Later, a certification can be published if a project is requiring it, or if they go to the certification process. It will be produced or it will be published by our certification partners, which one of them is Green Building Council Indonesia. Next, Elaine. EDGE applies to multiple typologies. This includes homes, apartments, office, hotels, even light industrial buildings and data center. Each typology has its own baseline, so the comparison is relevant to how that building type typically operates. The baseline is set based on the project location and key building details, ensuring that the result reflects local climate, market assumptions, and building characteristics. Next, Elaine. So the EDGE app's able to give you the numbers, like it gives you instant feedback of your design choices. So you can test your options and see the impacts right away. As you adjust your inputs, the app will help you to project savings from energy, water, and carbon in real time. It can help you to estimate the incremental costs, the operational or utility savings, and payback periods. It also helps you to connect between sustainability and budget or return of investment. Most importantly, it helps you to quantify the impact of your building designs by calculating potential carbon emissions and CO2 reductions, so you can clearly communicate the environmental benefits of your design. Next, Elaine. So this is the graph that shows the growth of the EDGE certification in Indonesia. It is now one of the leading countries in the region for EDGE. The trend has shown that this number continued to increase year by year. If you look at the percentage of the typologies on the right, you can see that most of EDGE certified projects are concentrated in retails and homes. Within housing specifically, about 97% of the housing units are located in Jakarta. So I think that's conclude my presentation. So I'll hand it over to Elaine. Thank you, Elaine.
Thanks, Ankita. Appreciate it. Okay, great. So I'll give you a brief overview of the MAGIC program, which Dan already talked about, and then the research component. So the MAGIC program, overall, the MAGIC Accelerator for Green Construction program is a whole market program to boost the uptake of green building designs and technologies through a combination of different components. First of all, concessional blended finance to financial intermediaries to facilitate green building financing. So as of June 2026, the MAGIC program has facilitated nearly $3 billion in investments across 29 green building projects in 9 MAGIC countries. That is combined with advisory services to financial institutions and at the market level, and with the development of the EDGE platform that Ankita walked us through earlier. EDGE has grown significantly globally and then across the MAGIC countries, with currently 77 million of certified floor space in MAGIC countries. And then we have the research and evidence component of the MAGIC program, implementing different studies, addressing research gaps on green construction certification, very focused on emerging markets, to provide a public good, but also to support the investment and advisory components of the MAGIC program. Here's an overview of the research program. So we have 4 components plus a cross-cutting component of dissemination and outreach. So we conduct internal and external stakeholders, events and publications, increase awareness of green buildings and to motivate behavior change among target audiences. The 4 components consist of, first of all, a set of stakeholder assessments. This component's been completed with 7 stakeholder assessments in 7 countries, which are available on the EDGE Buildings website. Then we have a set of market maturity assessments, analyzing the green building market maturity across different dimensions, including the overall construction market, the green building market, finance, capacity and skills, policy and regulations related to green buildings across 13 countries. A set of baseline studies has been completed between 2019 and 2023, and they are also available on the EDGE website. And we're currently in the process of conducting the end lines, which will become available by the end of the calendar year. Then we have just completed an embodied carbon study, introducing new green materials such as green steel and concrete, as well as timber and bamboo, that were not currently in the EDGE materials database. So this study was just completed. We'll have a dissemination event on this on the 9th of July. So if you haven't received an invitation, feel free to just put it in the chat and I'll be happy to send that to you with your email address. And then some of these materials will also be published in the coming weeks. And then the centerpiece of the MAGIC research program are the EDGE impact evaluation, also referred to as the smart metering studies. They measure the actual energy and water consumption in green buildings compared to conventional buildings, but also the EDGE model in low and middle income residential areas in 3 emerging markets: Indonesia, plus Colombia and South Africa, and these are ongoing. And with that, I will hand it over to Martin from the Central Research Team.
Okay, thanks, Elaine. So I'm Martin Pullinger. I'm a senior researcher at University College London in the UK. My research is focused on understanding patterns of energy use in buildings, domestic buildings, and the factors that influence that energy use. My recent research has been focusing in particular on the effects of low carbon technologies and green building design. So you've heard from Elaine and Ankita about the overall MAGIC research program and about what the EDGE Green Building Standard actually is and how the EDGE tool works. So I'm going to give you a broad overview now of one of the aspects of that Elaine introduced, the EDGE impact evaluations. So this is a multi-country project, as Elaine said, to evaluate the in-use performance of domestic buildings built to the EDGE standard. So I'm going to give you an overview of the overall aims of the project and the research questions, and the research design for the studies, And then I'm going to hand over afterwards to Elaine to tell you in a lot more detail about the Indonesia research that's going on. So the research questions, the study's focusing on residential buildings and apartments in emerging markets. We're assessing energy and water consumption actually in use, so from occupied buildings. We're not covering the embodied carbon in materials. The EDGE also is included in the standard. That's a separate study. But so the primary research questions for this aspect of the research is to identify to what extent EDGE certified buildings, domestic buildings, deliver the energy and water use savings that they're predicted to, first of all, so compared to the EDGE model, and also the kind of savings that they deliver compared to conventional non-EDGE buildings, so the ones that are built to local building standards. So that's kind of like the high level top research question. We're going to be breaking that down in more detail in sort of secondary research questions. So as well as looking at the overall savings from a sample of buildings, we're going to be looking at how savings vary by building type, how they vary over time, over the course of at least a year of data collection. So we can look at things like seasonal differences in savings and how they vary as well between different green solutions that are commonly used to achieve EDGE certification. So maybe different design approaches, different technologies, different operational practices. We're also going to be looking at trying to identify some of the main causes of the observed variations in the savings, and what can be done to increase the accuracy of the savings that are predicted by the EDGE model. So that's part of a continuous process of sort of refining the EDGE model that's been going on for years already. So it just sort of feeds into that process. And also as well, what can be done to increase actual savings on the ground? So you might find that there's fairly simple behavioural changes that can be made by occupants to really sort of achieve the savings that the EDGE model has predicted. So those are the research questions. Have the next slide, please, Elaine. Thanks. So in terms of the structure of the research programme, it spans 3 countries, South Africa, Colombia and Indonesia. The work across those countries is being coordinated by a central research team, which is the team that I'm leading at UCL. So we're responsible for the overall research design to help ensure there's a consistent approach across the 3 countries. Also responsible for data analysis once all the data collection has been completed, and for producing reports sort of at the midline stage and at the final stage, where we actually produce results to answer those research questions. And then in each country, there's also an in-country team that has local expertise. So they're advising on the best ways to tailor the research design to each country's differing context, how to interpret results when we get to that stage, as well as actually implementing the study in each country. So the work on the ground, recruiting participants, collecting data, managing data quality and things like that. So go to the next slide, please. So the data analysis, once all the data comes in, as I said, we'll be comparing the measured energy and water use from a sample of homes built to the EDGE standard and from a sample of non-EDGE residential units. We'll be comparing the actual measured energy and water use against the EDGE predicted use for the EDGE buildings, investigating variation in those results by country and region and over time for the main different EDGE solutions that we've been utilised. I'm trying to explain where we find any performance gaps between the predicted savings and the on the ground actual savings. Try to explain under what kind of conditions those performance gaps arise to potentially then, well, the idea is that you generate insights that can help refine the EDGE software and program design over time. Can you have the next slide, please? So the study is structured as a match control design. So we're focusing the research on basically sort of a stratified sample approach where we're recruiting sort of large sites with hundreds or even thousands of residential units in each one. So we're selecting a set of suitable EDGE residential sites, certified residential sites, and then a matched comparison. So in terms of the EDGE sites, we're looking for a selection of sites that have covered the main urban locations of EDGE buildings. So in Indonesia, that's focusing particularly on Jakarta. In some of the other countries, there's several large cities involved. Different climates where there's sort of large climate variations across the country, a range of the key sort of edge solutions that are in use in that country, and also occupants that are, or buildings that are targeted for a range of income bands, so we can see effects for different income groups. And then as well, there's a matched sample of buildings that are matched based on having a similar location, similar income band, similar type of building, but they're built to local base case building standards rather than to the edge standard. So that's kind of like a comparison group. Next slide, please. In terms of data collection, the main outcome variables are the actual energy and water demand. So we've got thousands of homes in each country where we're collecting energy and water data. In South Africa only, it's smart meter data because smart meters are quite common there. In Indonesia, it's actually manual readings conducted by the in-country team, a monthly resolution roughly. As well as that, that's backed up with contextual data from some thousands of households as well. So participant surveys give a lot of contextual information to understand why the variations in energy demand and water demand that we observe actually occur. So that includes things like the demographics, the building and appliance characteristics, energy and water use and behaviours of the occupants. Where available, we're going to collect the EDGE reports for the certified sites, and that can be backed up with site inspections as well to collect information on building type and floor areas, just to verify the energy and water saving technologies that are in place, things like that. And then that'll also be linked with weather data, because that's obviously an important variable to understand patterns of demand. In a few hundred homes in Indonesia and also in South Africa, we're going to be collecting some additional monitoring data as well from sensors that have been installed as part of the project. So that's covering indoor temperature and humidity, and also monitoring usage of energy or water that's affected by edge solutions. So in Indonesia, particularly, that's air conditioning use, which is the corollary to passive cooling solutions. Just to see sort of, so we can sort of focus down on sort of the key energy uses that edge should be affecting. Next slide, please. So there's been a two-phase study design. There's a pilot phase, which is already wrapped up now. That was adapting the overall study design to each country context, doing things like identifying suitable sites to recruit participants from and to collect data from, just learning and preparing for the main phase rather than trying to answer the research questions, so trialing all aspects of the study. So things like designing the survey, tailoring it to each country, actually testing implementation methods for the survey, testing some of the additional monitoring solutions, testing the approach to manual meter collections where that was happening. So that was a process to identify problems and identify solutions to those problems that the main phase could be successful. And we're in the main phase now, well into it actually. So that's the full implementation of the study, engagement with all the sites, recruitment of all the participants, and ongoing data collection. So that began sort of mid-late 2025, is running through to the end of this year. So up to 18 months monitoring period, or a bit less in the end in most countries. So that covers the recruitment, the data collection and data analysis, and then interim and final reports. I think that's my final slide. So I'm going to hand over to Elaine to give you a lot more detail about the Indonesia study.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martin. So Elaine, can I share my own screen?
Yes, I will stop sharing my screen.
Oh yeah.
You go ahead.
Right. Yeah, just to.
Can you just at the
allow...
end of your slides, please put the survey link and QR code on the screen when you finished. It's in the slides.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay. Sure.
Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Elaine. Thank you very much, Martin, for the introduction on the MAGC research. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gilang Bhaktiputra. I'm the field coordinator for the in-country research team, where in this regard, Universitas Trisakti acts as the local partners together with the University of New South Wales and also Fairbos as the implementing partners for the smart monitoring installation. So over the next 15 minutes, I will share where we are halfway through the main phase and also the layers of data that we are collecting, our progress so far, and the lessons from the field that has taught us. So we believe those lessons are useful for any upcoming or even existing built environmental research in this region. And afterwards, Laurencia will continue talking in details more about the smart monitoring installation. Okay. All right. So maybe let me start with a quick reminder. I think maybe I believe some of you may be new to this MAGC research. So I will start with a quick reminder of what this study is. So like Martin has mentioned previously, this MAGC program is a study that evaluates, it compares the actual energy and water consumption in EDGE-certified residential buildings against the comparable conventional buildings. And Indonesia is one of the 3 countries where we become the location of the studies under this Market Accelerator for Green Construction, or the MAGC research program. The focus in Indonesia, we are focusing our study in the Jakarta metropolitan area, which I will explain later why we focus our study in the Jakarta metropolitan area. And in this location, in this region, we have 9 participating sites, which refers to either apartment projects or clustered township, and the ratio is 4 EDGE certified and 5 comparison or non-EDGE sites, which includes the apartments and landed housing typology. And the main phase in Indonesia, it started in July 2025, and we expected that our data collection will continue up to December 2026. And we have finished collecting the survey with the occupants in February 2026, but the data collection for the energy and water consumption is still going on. So as you can also see on these slides, why we focus in Jakarta metropolitan area is because most of the EDGE residential projects, they're concentrated within this Jakarta metropolitan area. If you're not familiar with the map of Indonesia, then you can see here, this is the island of Sumatra, which is located next to Malaysia Peninsula and Singapore. And Jakarta is right here in the Java Island, the capital city, and the EDGE residential developments, they are concentrated around this region. And as you can see from the table, even just in Jakarta only, in the Jakarta metropolitan area only, it represents 64.5 or around 65% of all EDGE certified developments in Indonesia. So with that geographical justification, considering the logistical challenges and also the costs, so we limited our scope. We limited the geographical scope within the Jakarta metropolitan area. This is the Jakarta metropolitan area picture in detail. So as I mentioned before, we have 4 EDGE certified sites and 5 comparison non-EDGE sites. The apartment buildings, which is represented with this building icon over here, is located within the Jakarta area, within the Jakarta city boundary. The red one, it refers to the red one refers to the non-EDGE, and the green one, it refers to the age developments. So most of the vertical housings apartment buildings located within the Jakarta city boundary, but the landed housing developments from our participating sites, they are located within the Jakarta metropolitan area, which is around 1 or 2 hours of commuting trip, which is quite normal for Jakarta people to travel that far, to travel that long for their commuting trips. In total, we have 9,375 residential units that we can survey. We will show you the funneling later, but we have this much amount of residential units that are participating in this study. So in this study, we have 4 layers of data collection. So I will walk you through the 4 layers. The first is the building construction data, which is basically the age criteria, which is required to run the age simulation. It is now still in the progress in retrieving from the estate management, although we have also got some data for the edge developments, but for the non-edge developments, we are still in progress to retrieve the data. For the energy and water bills, we finally collected around 3,067 units for the electricity and 3,190 units for the water data. It is a longitudinal consumption that we retrieve from manual meter readings, from the PLN apps, from the PDM records. So it requires our surveyors to conduct manual meter data collection, taking pictures, taking notes every month, and also sometimes they also access the data from the PLN app, or occasionally they also need to access the historical bill of the water consumption. And then the third layer is the household and demographic survey, which involves face-to-face questionnaires on each household. We ask about their demographic background, appliances they have inside their home, and their behaviors in using those appliances. From this survey, we completed around 1,815 surveys. And then lastly, the most granular level of data, the data with the most level of detail is the smart monitoring, where we try to capture the environmental and energy data using smart monitoring kits. We installed them in 400 units, 390 installed in apartment units, and 10 in landed housing units. And this is the funneling of our data collection. So let us talk. Let us break down, starting with the age side first. So our surveys, they have to do a face-to-face interaction with these residential units. So they've visited 1,562 housing units. And finally, they able to collect survey from 669 residential units, and from that number of surveys, we got around 207 residential units that consented from the for the smart monitoring installation. You can see the breakdown between the apartment and the landed housings at the left and the right side of this diagram, which as you can see, the apartments and the landed housing is typically almost similar during the data collection, but for the consent during the smart monitoring, we can see a very big gap. The apartments have almost 200 and the landed housing is only 9. Then moving on to the comparison group, we visited 2,325 residential units, and then from that number of visits, we were able to get the survey from 1,145 residential units, with the number of consents for the smart monitoring installation is 426 residential units. You can see from the backgrounds here, the apartments dominate dominate the data collection, and for the landed housing, we only have fewer numbers participate for this study. So if we try to compile the data here, we can see that, yeah, we got around 47 response rate. 49 response rate in apartment sites and 40% response rate for the survey in landed housing. So combined, it's a 47 response rate for the survey in combined apartment sites and landed housing units, which is quite good. Because we are using a face-to-face interaction, I think that's also one of the major reasons we got that high amount of response rate. It involves 75 active fieldwork days. So during this July 2025 to February 2026, excluding the days that are required for the administrative fulfillment to get the permission letters and everything, our surveyors work for 75 active fieldwork days. For every surveyor, they can complete around 9 to 10 with time required around 15 to 30 minutes per interview. And for the survey itself, we gave them incentives as much as 50,000 rupiah. It is around $3, I think, based on the current currency exchange rate. In Indonesia, it's around the cost of 3 meals, which is quite good and quite. I think it's quite appealing for our participating households. And from that numbers, the number of households that consent to the smart monitoring installation is around 35% of that, and which we are very happy about with those numbers. And this is how this is the pictures that we took during the site visit. So this is how our surveyors typically work. They are they're using either smartphones or tablets, and then record the responses digitally. They're interviewing the occupants directly, instead of simply accompanying them, filling in the information, filling in the form on their own. We help them, we assist them in filling out the information, which explains the high response rate. I will explain it to you later why we do not use, or why we do not opt for the online questionnaire. But basically, to achieve this high response rate, we use the face-to-face interaction. Then for the coming back to the energy and water consumption data, so we took the electricity and water meter data from over 3,000 units. So for the electricity, we mostly rely on our surveyors to collect the data manually. So they have to move units to other units to collect the electricity data each month at a regular interval. We develop like a platform to collect those data, and our surveyors use that app where electricity meters, water meters are accessible. They will capture the data. Occasionally, we also access the historical billing records, particularly for landed housing, where a regular visit are not possible to be conducted due to geographical, logistical, and also accessibility reason. And we do the retrieval from the historical billing records day by day. And because we cannot access all of them at once, so we have to do them in stages. And for the water water data, we work similarly. We collect the meter data by reading the meters manually, and in landed housing, where meters are locked, where the most water meters are locked, we are arranging a formal data sharing arrangement with the PDAM or the local water company. Okay, before we move on to the smart monitoring installation, I think we would like to deliver what are the lessons learned from the from our field data collection, and what I think it can provide a useful lessons for another researchers to learn from. So the survey method previously, we designed them to be hybrid, to have a face-to-face interaction, face-to-face data collection, and also self-completed online option where the occupants, instead of having face-to-face interaction, they can fill in the information on their own. However, as we started the project with testing, we test the online questionnaire again. It returns a very low response rate, which I will show you the numbers later. So we opt to face-to-face only. And previously, we use a Google Forms to collect those manual meter data collection. Because we need to input the numbers, and we need some kind of platform where we can organize the data. However, using Google Forms is not really a nice solution, because we cannot customize much, and also there's some issues with the data security, and also with how our surveyors can access the Google Forms is not really flexible. So finally, we developed our own in-house web app. And it also has offline support, where our surveyors, they do not need to always connect it to the internet to use the app. And also we for the manual meter readings, particularly in landed housings, previously we deploy our surveyors to do the manual meter readings, but unfortunately, due to the logistical and geographical challenges, because the distance between house is quite big, and they have to move a lot, and it's not very effective. So we choose to remotely retrieve the data via publicly accessible data platform. And for the incentives, previously we provide a very uniform structure for our survey. But however, moving on, we start to differentiate our incentives by the activity, typology, and duration. So for instance, previously for the smart monitoring kits, we provide also the same amount of incentives like the survey. However, after some discussion and engagement with the occupants, we increase the number to try to make it more appealing for them to involve in the smart monitoring installation. Okay, so this is the lessons in detail. We tried before to use the online questionnaire. However, from those amounts of 9,000 of pool of respondents, pool of participants, we only get 5 respondents that complete the online survey, which is very, very low. So instead, unfortunately, because of this situation, we finally decided, okay, let's just do the face-to-face data collection. We deployed our surveyors to the field and knocking the house door to door, which is actually more effective. And the reasons is because many residents, they wanted to become familiar with the research team, because it's all about trust. When you're answering the questions, you are sharing at least partially your data or your behavior, which for some people it's about exposing exposing about their households. So with having a face-to-face interaction, it allows the residents, the occupants, to become familiar with the research, to familiar with the people who are working behind this research. So it increases the chances that they agree to participate in the survey. So in-person interaction builds the trust that drives the participation. And also, with the in-person interaction, they can clarify, assist in real time. So it helps the occupants to fill in and assist them to fill in the questionnaire forms. And then also learning from the Colombian team. Previously, we used Google Form to organize our manual meter data collection. However, we after moving moving on the projects, we found that it's not really flexible. So we learned from the Colombia team. They developed their own manual meter data collection apps. So we learned from that. So we developed our in-house app too. It doesn't involve an advanced technical knowledge on coding. So it's really possible to design the app on our own, and it's also more we can flexibly customize the app. We can scale the image, because during the manual meter data collection, we also need to capture the photos or the image of the meters, and it allows for many customization, and we have full control over the data. So the in-house solutions, they deliver greater reliability, flexibility, and lower long-term infrastructure costs, because we do not have to pay for the recurring payment when we use like Google Apps Script, for instance. And this is the apps that our surveyors are using. So as you can see here, the apps can record water and electricity meter data. So surveyors just simply log into the web app. They do not need to install any apps in the phone. So it works in both Android or iOS platform. They can simply add new entry, and then they can enter the household unit ID, enter the readings from the meters, and take pictures or upload the images, and it save us time in organizing the data, and save us so much time to clean the data before we submit this data to the central research team. And also for the incentives, this is the amount of the incentives that we gave to the participating residents. So for the questionnaire survey, the amount is 50,000 rupiah, or around $3 US. We gave them on site. So once they completed the survey, we gave them the incentives. And I think that, this is also what makes a face-to-face interaction appealing, because they can receive the incentives directly upon the completion of the survey. And for the smart monitoring, we give a higher ceiling of incentives. So for the household occupants, we give them a total of 300,000 rupiah, or around 20 US for the incentives, which we give them in 2 stages, in July and December 2026. This is to cover the partially to cover the electricity expenses that we use to install the smart monitoring, but also as a reward for agreeing to participate in the study. Then I think one of the challenges that we face, we face in this research is when we are trying to when we collected the data from the landed housing, because as you can see, the landed housing sites, they are located around 1 to 2 hours commuting trip, and oftentimes actually it's 2 to 2.5 hours, which our MAGC team from UK and Elaine, they have already experienced that. So for a single trip, it took around 2 to 2.5 hours from Jakarta. In these landed housing sites, it's really important to build trust with them, because they are more, the communities are more reserved. They live in the clustered gated communities, so we need to build trust. It took us a very long time to engage with them, to socially engage with them, to interact, and to really assure them that we are trusted, reliable, and legitimate researchers. And also we even have a flexible arrangements, like how about we visited you in the evening or weekend. We even put our surveyors to stay on site to cut the travel time, to cut the travel costs, and also to build familiarity with the residents. So having this community mediated trust also getting to know with the head of the communities and the influential figures within the community is very pivot to the research, to the data collection. And finally, from my side, we also conduct smart monitoring using smart monitoring kits. It's a Zigbee based smart home monitoring kits. We installed 400 sensors. This is the timeline of our installation. So previously we have a pilot phase in May 2025 last year, and then we start our main phase in July, and in December we have a startup phase of smart monitoring installation with our partners Fairbos. We started with 30 units before we finally accomplished installation for 387 apartment units, and then we finalized our installation in May 2026, 390 in apartment units and 10 units in the landed housing. We have more installation in apartment units because the smart monitoring kits, they rely on connection, and this connection works best when they are located within a very close cluster. And also another reason why we have more in apartment units is in landed housing units, they are more reserved, and sometimes it's very difficult to get them interested. Despite the response rate that we received earlier, the number of response rate, even getting this number is quite challenging. So we limited our installation in landed housing sites. We kept them as 10 because each home, it needs individual access arrangements. So it involves another logistical challenges. So we come up with 400, 390 in apartment units and 10 in landed housing units. And the comparison between the age to conventional housing sites is 3 to 2. So basically it's primarily due to the lower availability of households in the comparison group at the time of smart monitoring installations. And these are the kits that we installed at the home. But however, I will hand this over. I will hand over the presentation to Laurencia, our partner at Fairbos. Yeah, please, Laurencia.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gilang. My name is Laurencia Sukamto. I come from Fairbos Kreasi Digital, where Fairbos serves as the smart monitoring partner for this study. And I'll be walking you through what we deployed, how we operate it, and the key lesson we learned along the way. Okay, to set the context, our mandate was continuous monitoring of household energy use and indoor environment across 400 households in Jakarta. We measured three things. First, the total household electricity consumption via the PLN grid level energy meter at each unit. The second is appliance level electricity for specific devices such as AC, refrigerator, rice cooker, fan, and dispenser. And the third is indoor environment data, which is temperature and humidity that we capture in both the living room and bedroom, where it is a significant amount of data points per household, running continuously for 12 months. And so the question was, how do we actually deliver that? Okay, to answer that, this is our system. Our system was designed in 3 layers. At the sensor layers, we deployed Zigbee-based devices that is wireless, fast to install, and easy to reposition with minimum disruption to the household. Then each sensors connect through a local gateway. That the gateway is used to buffer sensors data locally and send the data to our platform that is the third layer. Basically, the local storage that the gateway have is very critical in our residential settings where we can really depends on the internet reliability there. And at the top, the platform layer is powered by our Continuum platform, which handles the end-to-end process, sensor registration, data collection and storage, also operations monitoring and data export for the research team. Okay. Here's what the kit looks like in the field. At the panel, we installed an energy meter to capture total unit consumption. On individual appliance, we use smart plug. For room climate, we place temperature and humidity sensors. And we also install a Zigbee network router to expand the Zigbee network. And the large photo on the left shows one of our field engineers installing the per floor gateways. Okay, now let me walk through how we deploy and operate for this smart monitoring. For the deployment, sensors were prepared and labeled before the team arrived on the site. So the installation visit was purely about physical placement and connectivity verification. Its sensors will connect to the gateway with no wiring required, and then every device will be registered to our Continuum platform with the unique household ID. And after the sensors connected to our platform, we collect their data and monitor through an alert management system to maintain their availability. You can see the live operation dashboard on the right. As of June 20, we have 400 active households and 1833 devices being actively managed. And all of the data needs to reach the researcher teams in a usable format, with which brings me to the next slide. Okay, this is one of the things we built specifically for the research team to help them in exporting the data. Researchers can choose between raw history or aggregated view at 15 minutes, 1 hour, or 1 day interval with minimum, maximum, average, and count of each aggregated interval. The workflow is straightforward. Researchers choose their data type and devices. Then they submit a download request. The system will automatically prepares the data, and once it's ready, they'll receive a notification both in the platform and via email to download a clean CSV. Okay, that's on our platform side. But behind every data point is a household that agreed to participate, like what Mr. Gilang already said. And earning that agreement across 400 households was far from straightforward process. That brings me to the first of 3 field challenges that we faced. This is our first challenge. That was the resident acceptance. Participation is entirely voluntary and trust doesn't come instantly. In the early deployment phase, the team went door to door and they patiently explained about what we will install and building a relationship with the occupant. And by the mid deployment, community conversation had started spreading awareness and trust built through consistent and professional interaction across the site. And now we're at the point where residents proactively reach out requesting installation for their unit. This chart shows the growth in active households sending data monthly from 264 in January to a full 400 by May and June. Resident trust compound over time, and face-to-face engagement is non-negotiable in this context, actually. But rather than a brief, valuable explanation at the door, we developed a brochure that residents could keep, read, and refer back to. And it explains exactly what devices are installed and what data is and is not collected, so that we had residents on board. But again, keeping 400 household sensors online and reliable for 12 months continuously is an entirely different challenge. So this is our second challenge. It is operation and maintenance. Collecting data is only the first step that we already done, but the real value comes from ensuring every data is sending continuously. That's why we've developed our ONM system, where it goes from alert detection from our system that will trigger an engineer to do an on-site resolution and verify it until the data back online. The result, 98.4% data availability year to date from January through June 2026. Basically, ONM is not just about fixing the issue, but it's about protecting data availability. And now moving out to our third challenge was occupant turnover. Actually, we anticipated this from day one that we already prepared about this kind of issue. But the first turnover case surfaced about 3 months after full deployment. And since then, we've managed 10 relocation cases with an average end-to-end redeployment time approximately about 14 days. And every affected unit has been successfully redeployed. But one thing worth to highlight, we don't always know immediately when a resident has moved out. Unlike a hub going offline, the sensors that left behind by the occupant keep sending the data as usual. But the unit look active, but on our platform site, but actually there's nobody home. That's why we do a routine site visit to catch relocation early before the data loses its meaning. Okay, now to close my presentation, smart monitoring at residential scale is as much a people problem as it is a technology problem. The system maybe can be robust, the data can be clean, but none of that matters if residents don't open the door. So we are proud that today all 400 households are active and that the availability stands at 98.4%, and we're on track for a complete 12-month dataset through December 2026. Thank you to the field team, the estate management, and most important, the resident, because without them, none of this data would access. That's all. Back to Mr. Gilang. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lauren, for the presentation. Sorry, I think I closed my Okay, yeah. So thank you again, Lauren, for the details on the smart monitoring installation. Going forward, this is our outlook to December 2026. We will continue the the collection of the electricity and water meter data consumption across all sites, and together with Ferbus, we will assist Ferbus in monitor and maintain those sensors. And also, we are in the process of retrieving the construction data from the buildings that are participating in this study. And most importantly, this is actually very important, very critical, is to sustain the participation, to sustain the trust, and like Lauren said before, people is a very critical in this context. So we have to sustain them. We have to keep building engagement, and we are very grateful with the contribution from our team of surveyors that help to mediate this trust with them. And hopefully in December 2026 we can conclude the data collection. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present our progress halfway through the main phase. We would like to give our special thanks, acknowledgement to IFC Indonesia, and also Dinas Perumahan Rakyat and Permukiman Provinsi DKI Jakarta, or the housing agency, Housing and Settlement Agency of Jakarta, to Ciputra Group, and also Farpoint for their immense help, so that we can access these sites, and we can get this much of residential units to participate in our study, and also for our team that contributes to the data collection, working on the field relentlessly. So thank you very much. I think back to you, Elaine.
Thank you so much, Gilang and Laurencia, for this super engaging overview. Before we get started with the Q&A, just a quick, could you move it one more slide just to make sure everyone has seen this? So here's the link to the quick feedback survey we kindly request to fill out at the end of the session. We also posted it in the chat. It has sort of 5-6 questions, but it's really very quick. It should take 1 minute, and then you will receive the link to download the slides. So Q&A. Girlang, there was a question to you in the chat about the type of apartment that is targeted in the study. The question, is it a condo unit or a KOST? I'm not quite sure what that stands for, so perhaps you can address that point. Thank you. You are on mute if you are speaking. I think you are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So to answer the first question, is it a condo unit or an in the cost? Yeah. So the buildings that we include in this research in this study is apartment units where it is not exactly, yeah, if I have to say condominium unit, it might refer to the more middle upper class of apartment buildings. This is more like the regular apartment buildings, like the 36 square meter type. Particularly in this project, all of our apartment buildings, they come from the social housing managed by the DPRKP, managed by the government of DKI Jakarta. The reason is because, yeah, we only this is the buildings that we have access to. We tried actually to go into the more upper middle class incumbent apartment units. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to access. So we yeah, the apartment buildings that we refer here is the social housing, or maybe if you're familiar, is the Rusunawa. The Rusunawa managed by the government of DKI Jakarta. Yeah, and most of them are 36 square meters. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for addressing that. And there's another question on the EDGE app and methodology. In assessing the green compliance rating, would you require life cycle assessment and environmental product declaration documentation as proof that the project is truly sustainable or green? So I think Angita would be best positioned to address that. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Elaine. So, based on the questions about how to measure the green measurement for the materials in EDGE, so we have a baseline, not a baseline, sorry, like a data that are embodied in the application. It is a cradle to gate calculation. So it's calculated from the extractions of the raw materials until it's leaving the factories, and it's kind of giving you, so we want to make this very user friendly. So what we do in EDGE is that the designer or the architects or the building owners, they can just click on the list of the materials that show on the EDGE apps, and then they just choose what type of material that the building is using. So it calculates based on the material that used in floors, walls, roof, and it's going to be like it's already being calculated by the app. So you don't need to like upload the LCA number or the EDP numbers in the app. The app will do it for you. I hope it's answer your questions.
So maybe just to add to that, the embodied carbon study that we just completed under the MAGC research program also did conduct a life cycle assessment for these additional materials that were not currently represented in the EDGE materials database that will then feed into EDGE version 4 that will be launched in a few months. So as sort of background data, but for the user, it is all sort of incorporated into the app, so nobody needs to add any additional data there. Yep. I do not see any additional questions in the chat currently. Will the embodied carbon in construction dealt with in the future? In my understanding, but really I'm not the expert here, is, oh, Angita, can you get back to this? But I understand that this is at least in the embodied carbon study, that is the embodied carbon through construction is considered, is included in the embodied carbon estimates for these 4 materials?
So for in the future, I'm not sure, like, do you mean the construction in the general or at Edge? But for Edge itself, we are like constantly like we have a regular update for the data that we use in the Edge app. And then we do have like updated it regularly. Like Elaine said that we are during this, we are having a study for the updated data for the upcoming version. So usually we're doing it every 5 years for the data update, and we continuously seeing what is the progress for the green building sectors within the region and the global, to see what kind of like improvement that we can add in the app. This is because we want to encourage the green building to be more sustainable. So we need to have a better calculation, an updated standard, etc.
Okay, thank you, Angita. Good. I do not see any more questions in the chat currently. Girlang, would you mind moving it 1 slide further again, just to make sure that participants have the QR code to fill in the survey, and once that's completed, which should take a minute, you will have the download link to the presentation materials. Really appreciate your feedback that's needed for our internal and external reporting. So really appreciate that. Oh, there is another question. Based on the findings collected so far, what are the most important policy implications that housing authorities and public housing managers should begin considering today to improve thermal comfort and energy efficiency for low-income residents and rental housing communities? I think that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
like, take a stab at that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sounds quite heavy. Yeah. Honestly, because it's yeah, about what kind of policy implications that might be important, yeah, for the housing authorities and particularly the public housing managers. We haven't published the findings yet. We're still working on that, and we're still working on a more detailed data collection. Yeah, because we need to make sure that the energy consumption is also probably related to the income bands and so on. But however, one of the main implications, I think, is about actually going back to the passive design solutions that have been so long exists, even I think for centuries. Like for instance, in many social housing apartments, I think the key issue here is not only about promoting like environmental friendly appliances or increasing the awareness of reducing the electrical consumption, but also about from the design stages, implementing passive design solutions as the integral part of the design. So yeah, I think it also involves educating the next future architects and even also current architects on how to design architecture that responds to its surrounding, to its natural environment, to that responds to its climate. So basically bioclimatic architecture, because this is one of the key key points in reducing the electrical consumption. Once you have a comfortable homes, you will be least likely to let's say turning on the AC, because the house is already well adapted to the climate. But I think the second one is also educating the occupants themselves increasing their awareness on this energy consumption is also really important. While we haven't got the aggregated findings, while we haven't got the final findings yet, but from our anecdotal cases that we found during our field data collection, for instance, there is this one house. They are actually living within the income band of 2 to 3 millions, working working in the informal sectors. But what I'm very surprised of is that their electricity bill is actually bigger than mine. So typically in my households, we pay around 30 US dollars a month for the electricity bill. Yeah, which is within the baseline, I believe. But these households smaller with smaller size, with a less number of electrical appliances, he has to pay 1 million rupiah, or around $80 a month, which is a big amount of money compared to their income. And the reason is because they just simply turn on the AC 24 hours. This is anecdotal, but this kind of case also exists. And I think one of the reasons is because maybe they have very low awareness on these environmental consequences, or maybe they have low conscience on the impact of turning on these appliances to their bill, and how they can actually save much by not turning the AC 24 hours, by maybe use electrical fans instead to ventilate their house. So yeah, I think that those maybe two of my lessons learned. Maybe just not really the final findings, but findings that some of the policies that may be implemented in the future.
Thanks, Girlang. I see Deo just put something in the chat. I'll read it out. Comfort and well-being is central to affordable housing. However, due to air conditioning, there may be confusion that AC is required. Passive operation can deliver thermal comfort in such climate through good cross ventilation, shading, etc. Analysis of surveys will show us more on this, hopefully. Fans perhaps too. So yeah, that's just to complement what Girlang mentioned. Thank you very much, Deo. I'm sorry about the link to the document. Angita, do you want to come in briefly, and then we have
Yes,
reached
maybe I
our
need.
time.
Sorry,
Yes.
yes, maybe I just want to clarify. So we cannot put the link directly at the end of the page because of the structure of the application, but you can just copy it and then copy it to the browser, and then you can just hit enter, and it will give you access to the materials.
Thanks, Angita. And if it doesn't work for any technical reasons, we are always happy to share the slides afterwards. We have all your email addresses from the registration, and we'll be happy to just share the slides via a blind copy. So yes, that's not a problem. So just give us a couple of days for this. With that, yes, I have your email address, Oscar. Thank you. We'll share the slides. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attention, for participating in the webinar, for your active questions and discussion points, and special thanks to our speakers today for opening remarks and to delivered presentations. Highly appreciate your contributions, and we look forward to successfully completing the study over the next 6 months, and then we will surely be in touch with updates from the analysis in the calendar year 2027. So stay tuned. You'll hear from us on the study. And thanks again for your participation.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very much,
everyone.
Elaine.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Thank you.
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks for your time. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Elaine, everyone.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay.
Yeah. Makasih banyak Pak Ischak.
Terima kasih Pak
Ya, Pak
Askira.
Tito.
Terima kasih Pak Tito.
Terima kasih Pak Ischak.
Bu Ali, semoga lancar sampai selesai laporannya.
Amin. Terima kasih Pak.
Makasih ya Bu Eli ya. Izin live.
Siap.
Ya, silakan Pak. Terima kasih.